be Finkinade, and he has no escape pulley. He is playing here to get kills or die.
No hatch inside of Theatre for Finkinade to drop from. Instead, just going to be holding a pretty narrow pixel peek there through the cabinet. Getting the nades tossed in on him now. He's going to have to push up aggressively here to try and get himself a frag, deal some damage in onto Scato, but he's given the game away. Looks like he's going to start getting pinched from both sides. The nade is now cooked. Shots exchanged, but the nade lands true. Scato takes down Finkinade, and with it, they gain top floor control.
Great work by Scato being able to have that nade. He took a lot of damage, Ollie, a lot of bullets firing into him, but he's still standing. Now SSG, they had that first pick, but now they've lost it. At the man deficit, 4 versus 3 in favor of Mkers. That destructibility from above will now come into play. This will give Mkers the access to go for a plant now, very successfully being able to cut off the rotations that SSG would like to go for. A lot of them still situated over towards the Sunrise side, and now that's only 2 players left for SSG. Bosco trying to hold them back with the smoke. Sasha has been delayed. He has to wait until that Toxic Babe does clear out before he can go again, but there is still one more Toxic Babe, which will be tossed out, but doesn't matter. Bosco has been eliminated, and Rampy all by himself, a 1 versus 3, he has to go big. Bosco actually gets the smoke kill from beyond the grave. Upstairs is where the cover's going to come in from. Akwi just has to hold the angle and land the kill. Oh no, but he's let him get across. Thankfully, Sasha is there. He had enough time to get off the defuse and get that kill. Oh, almost a disaster for Mkers.
Still plenty of utility to wade on through. Lolo is just threatening at the moment inside of Aqua. Doesn't really want to overcommit because obviously the floor is open, but he knows he's got a job to do in terms of removing utility inside of A.
Lolo trying to push in with that R4C, utilizing that breaching round to pick off pieces of equipment that are still standing for SSG. Canadian finds another now, and that's Gemini gone. And now here comes Mkers, a quick aggressive push. Lolo, he's thinking about it. Oh, but Canadian lines them up, mounts the LMG, and slaughters them all as they swing in. Akwi, he was over by himself on towards that hooker, trying to find any picks he can, but he let Canadian get away from him. And that did cost his team. Akwi, what can you do? There's 1 kill. 3 more to find, though. Look at the triangle of death being set up by SSG. A good response after a first-round loss for Space Station. Behind the insane gun skill that Mkers have, then yeah, they're going to be a force for any team to go up against. And right now, SSG, they're feeling full force. Again, Akwi just sweeps on through. Here comes the sledgehammer. Another one runs at him, but Finkinade, a quick double kill inside of Theatre. Oh, but there's the crossfire. Brilliant stuff from Mkers to get that refrag, and they still have the lead.
A tense opening round there from both these teams. Finkinade trying his best.
Where's he at?
What has happened there? He gets caught out by the Claymore. I'm not sure if he's gone for a little trip out of service door or maybe even main. Oh, it was main. He's tried to get the player out on repel. He's tried to take down Scato. Bosco, he left in a pretty tough spot. 1 versus 3, the diffuser cold on the floor. Gemini has just gathered that information, and Mkers already setting up the crossfire here. Bosco has a chance as these players are going to be fairly well spread out, but as the net tightens, it's going to be increasingly more difficult. The Toxic Babe canister will cut off access for the time being, but the diffuser has been recovered. 1 more Toxic Babe is not going to be enough to deny 35 seconds and 3 players of Mkers as the flood of Mkers bodies comes in. Lolo the one to find that last kill, but they were all committed there to taking down Bosco, not giving him an opportunity at any 1 versus 1.
A couple of C4s as well, Ollie. That's, of course, Mkers have to try and dance around. It is only fitting to do a bit of dancing inside of Coastline, a very happy map that you'd expect plenty of dancing to be done on. And Rampy, he wakes up and he finds the kill. Akwi gone now, that big player for Mkers the last round is now eliminated. But we see the self-destruction be played now from Mkers going above, opening up these angles, and it looks as if they may go just for your run-of-the-mill Sunrise take, but one player that they need to try and eliminate is going to be Finkinade. Behind this shield, this is a very pesky position, very annoying for a lot of the attackers to deal with. Lolo finds another, C4 gets shot out, and I think Finkinade just panicking a little bit, thinking that he might have been pushed on, but no, not the case.
He's been droned in there now as well. Barna going to start to open up that wall as the X-Caros are deployed. Thinking they're going to play aggressively onto this one. Finds a kill over onto Sasha. Has the shotgun in hand for the close range engagement. Picks up yet another. Lolo responded, but it's a 1 versus 2. Lolo has to go big here. He's got information as to where Thinking Nade is. He's going to be able to take him out, but the time is going to run out. SSG are going to take that round out.
ADS placement trying to cover off the smoke, and well, that does mean that the mute jammer that was on that wall last time, which was a big issue for Mkers, they couldn't open that quad wall, but now those issues that they had have been creased over. We don't need to worry about them anymore opening that wall. They have done that successfully. Canadian again, though. The Alda is at it once more. Gemini in a great position. This is the cutoff that I'm on about, Ollie. It's very, very difficult now for Space Station to actually challenge this.
Really is. Rampy's going to try and take it as a head-to-head gunfight, but Scato shuts him down. The advantage now with Mkers. They do have some time remaining, 20 seconds or so. Acqui manages to find the headshot over onto Canadian. Fulton Thinking Nade now left in the 2 versus 4. Scato finds another. It's all down to Fultz. He stops the plank going down with the C4, but it is not going to be enough. Gemini, with the rotation cover, picks up that final kill. A night and day difference there for Mkers attacking that site demo. Previously, and managed to get an opening frag onto Canadian. This time we're going for a bit more of a hatch drop. As we see Scato kind of aggressively getting himself in. I wondered for a moment if it was a Gemini clone or not, but it is actually going to be Scato himself. Canadian with a C4 prepped below. He's got a nice hole to be working with as well. Go for a little toss on up, but it is going to be baited out beautifully. Gemini getting himself out of the way there. Lolo finding the opening pick over onto Thinking Nade. Fultz forced to drop. Acqui finds a second onto Canadian, and the rotation kill there from Acqui, able to pick up both SSG players. One as they drop the hatch off that top floor. Top floor control gained at little cost. It just makes it so difficult for them to be able to have a meaningful impact when they're left up against such a great man disadvantage. There's 40 seconds left still. There was around a minute left when Mkers actually gained that top floor control and picked up the 3 kills. So it's a really long time to stave off this sort of an attack. Scato takes down Rampy. Sasha locking the round in by planting that diffuser, and Bosco left wanting. Finds one over onto Lolo, gets a second over onto Scato. It's very doable, and it would be extraordinarily impressive if he is able to pull this one off. But Mkers, they have retreated. They've got themselves outside. It's going to be very difficult for Bosco to get a line of sight here. Gemini shuts him down. The final kill coming in there as Mkers, they've looked pretty good here on the attack on inside of the rotation. Maybe choose to hold that for a time, but Mkers have surrendered control of the bomb site. There's only going to be 2 of them playing inside of A. One behind a deployable, one behind a Vulcan. And then we have got another player inside of Aqua. But in terms of control of actual hooker, there is none at the moment.
Yeah, it looks as if it's going to be a hooker plant from SSG. There goes the fire arrows, and has cleared away anyone from Vason. Fultz has got the entry. There's going to be one man lurking on blue, and Lolo had just seen his head, but missed the shots on it. Lolo trying his best in this position. If one player from SSG was to go to the rooftop right now, they'd be in a prime position. Another Lion Charge goes out now. Just waiting to see if they want to make a move, but no, SSG still holding very firm. Fultz finds another one now, and definitely SSG, this is their round to lose. All they need to do is secure this diffuser, and they will have it shut down. And there's the rotation that I asked for. If they have somebody on towards the rooftop, nobody from Mkers can stop the plant going in. Canadian tries his hand at a quick aqua flank as well, but Mkers are getting slaughtered as they jump in through the rotation hole, and Sasha has no chance to get in this one. The diffuser down, the windows are being covered. 20 HP to do as well. Look how quick SSG they've exited. They're not giving him these kills, and there's Bosco on that window. Wow, SSG, a minimalistic take, but it works very well because of the amount of utility they're having on. Definitely doable, Ollie.
It's shaping up to look very similar to the take that SSG did in the first round as well, where they just were very concise and only really pushed from one particular side, with rotating one player out at an opportune moment. Maybe that's what we see happening here and now. Canadian still outside of main, looking maybe to get himself on in, waiting for the Lion scan to be able to do something with it. Going to get himself into an engagement, but Lolo shuts him down. Fultz has found one over onto Scatter, but Lolo's going huge, picks himself up a double behind the desk. Sasha is down. Lolo and Gemini now up against Thinking Nade and Bosco. We can hear the Capital Firebolts ringing on out. A Lion scan is going to cover the push on in here for Thinking Nade. Bosco, he holds the briefcase, and he is going to start planting that diffuser. Lolo has to try and push on in now. He's going to find himself down over onto Thinking Nade. Confirm that kill. Gemini with a C4. Great retake there from Fortos on out. Doesn't deal any damage, or at least nothing too significant. Hibana now going to be able to open up that sauna door, or sauna wall, sorry. Lolo feeling the pinch here.
Yeah, Lolo now backed up in a corner where he doesn't want to be, and he's actually going to challenge, and he finds it. Canadian looked away at the wrong time, and Lolo punishes him for it. Mkers, the little team that could, is doing it against the world champions, and another one just drops. You've gifted Lolo another kill. Space Station crumbling at the seams. Bosco, a 1 versus 5, another 1 versus 5 that he goes into, Ollie. The man's a legend, but he can't do it all.
Is that 3 1 versus 5s he's been in now? Poor old Bosco, man, always finding himself out there in the cold in the dying few stages. It's going to be a C4 that is his undoing at the end of that round.
Madness that happened inside of theater. Now it is a 4 versus 4. Standard Aquatake is now going to be the route for Space Station. You can see Mkers, Ollie, this is what they want. This is where they want SSG to push into, because they have Sasha with a shotgun saying, hello.
Shotgun and 3 Toxic Babe canisters to boot. He's got information. He has a yellow ping that there is going to be a player inside of there. We can see SSG desperately trying to make rotations now, as they're going to look to pressure from Aquarium Door as well. The Toxic Babes are going to come in here, as Sasha's going to use 1 to at least deny one of the angles that he has to worry about. He's going to get fire arrowed out, has to go for a relocate. Rampy takes him down there on the rotation. Good stuff from SSG, but is it too little too late? As the smoke dissipates, Rampy is able to push on through. It looks as though he may be going to lead the charge here. Lolo getting himself into an engage, finds one on Thinking Aid. All the kills are coming up here for Mkers. Fultz, you can't plant the diffuser, mate. You're in a 1vx. Scato finds the last kill. German, they've done it. Mkers have won. They have beat Space Station Gaming. Current champions here inside of the 6th Invitational have just fallen to that little old team from Italy. 7-3 demo.